Ladies and gentlemen, we meet again as we embark on starting the Torah all the way from the beginning, Parashat Bereshit, a short and sweet idea, but a very fundamental and basic and important idea as we start with the creation itself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates the innate on the first few days. Based on the innate, he creates the vegetation and the trees. Based on that, he creates the animals. And then at the end, he creates the human being who is the king of the castle. He is the peak of creation. He is the most complex and powerful creature on the earth. And he is told to be B'Tselem Elokim. He's supposed to be godly. He should be in the image of God. In what way? He controls the world. But the way the world was created, God created each and every stage and everything he created himself. But when it came to the creation of man, the words are Na'aseh Adam, let us create man. Very surprising, very surprising. Why is it mentioned in plural? So the famous Rashi tells us there that from there we learn a bit of anava. We learn a bit to play things down a bit, not to show our greatness. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he consulted the malachim. He consulted the angels how to create man, to show a certain humility, a certain humble approach to creating such an important being, the human being. He doesn't want to do it alone. He wants to consult the angels. That is a lesson in humility. The Ramban, Nachmanides, does not like Rashi's explanation for different reasons and doesn't like other explanations for different reasons. He brings them all down. Ramban, 800 years ago, brings a wonderful, he says this is the answer to the issue of why Naaseh, why is it written in plural when we come to creating man? And he gives us a lesson in the Hebrew language. And he explains to us that when we use plural in such a context, it doesn't have to mean plural of creators. Chas v'shalom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created man all by himself. But a plural of raw materials. What does he mean? He takes us back to the first verse of Bereshit. And the first verse of Bereshit says, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created two raw materials. That's what he explains. What are the raw materials? One is a spiritual raw material, which is called shamayim, and one is a physical raw material, which is called aretz. The angels and all the spiritual things in the world he created from the first shamayim, and all the physical things we have here on this planet and on all other planets. In fact, around the world, anything physical was created from the second raw material called aretz, the physical. Now, in Hebrew language, Na'aseh can mean a plural, not of, as I said before, not as creators, but of materials. And therefore, everything previously he created by one material. When he came to creating man, man was created with a combination of both materials. Man has a physical side that was created from the physical world, and a man has a spiritual side created from the spiritual raw material. We were created, and that is our definition. We are by definition creatures that were created with two separate, different types of raw materials that were combined together. So we have a spiritual side and we have a physical side. We have to learn how to balance the two. In fact, the Rambam, when he talks about Hilchot De'ot, how to lead our life, he talks about in Hilchot De'ot, he talks about Derech HaEmtza in the third chapter. He talks about how we balance between these two. I mean, if we were totally spiritual, then we would be angels. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu has got enough angels. If we were totally physical, we'd be animals. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu has got enough animals. He wants us to balance our spiritual and physical being. And that is the name of the game. And this is a wonderful idea. This is how the Ramban and Nachmanides ends off his explanation and explains why it's plural, because we were created by plural of raw materials. And then he ends off by saying, and this I say on a very personal note, he says, and this beautiful idea I learned from Rabbi Yosef Kimchi, who was the father of the Radak, Rabbi David Kimchi, who lived at the same time of the Ramban, more or less 800 years ago, about 150 kilometers away from him. The Ramban was on northeast Spain, in Girona, and the Radak was in southwest France, which is called Narbonne in the Provence area. And they were not so far away, 150 kilometers, less than 150 kilometers from each other. And they learned from each other. And Rabbi Yosef was the father of the Radak. And this Ramban is quoting his, we have a family tree that goes back all the way. My name is Yosef Shlomo Kimchi, and we have a family tree that goes all the way back to Rav David Kimchi, to his father, Rav Yosef Kimchi, who I'm a direct descendant of. And today I brought you a Ramban, which is from my great Zaidi, my great grandfather, which the Ramban found that this is the best explanation. However, further than the Ramban, now we've been talking, looking backwards, but now let's look forwards. We look forwards to all our yeshivot and ulpanot of Bnei Akiva, and that is one of the main messages we give to all our yeshivot and ulpanot Bnei Akiva. We have to be on the cutting edge of the spiritual world and of the physical world. We have to make the combination, but be in both. We have to, on the one hand, understand the economy, and we have to understand the cyber, and we have to understand computers, we have to understand medicine, and we have to be in the army, we have to be in the physical world and be top in the physical world. On the other hand, we have to be top in the spiritual world and learn Torah, and learn Mishnah, and learn Jewish philosophy, and learn Tanakh, and learn everything that has to be learned, that can be learned in Jewish life. And that is the core of the combination. That is the role of our life as human beings, and it's in the fabric of the way we were created. I wish you all a wonderful year. We're starting afresh with Parashat Bereshit. Shabbat Shalom.